Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video. In the evening these PIP videos come, in the morning these videos come, both in Hindi and English language. And today is 2nd of April and Tuesday as it is, and many informations are there, huge articles are there, so we are going to take things here. And you see, facts I am giving you in the form of MCQs these days, so that maximum memorization is possible for you, and it is going to help you in this prelims stage, and that is not far away. And let's start. Look at this picture. You see, in this world, maximum number of people, they are not courageous and they are average people, and they always follow somebody's path that is less risky, that is not courageous. And if you would decide about something, that you are going to take a different path and it's a courageous one, and if you are a courageous person, and if you decide to be courageous, that's also a condition. If you decide to be courageous, then they all will be skeptical about your moves. They will all try to stop you directly or indirectly. Psychological pressures can be there, and you see, these kind of people, they would never be supportive, because these are less courageous people. They are not courageous, and you are taking a risky step here. But you see, if you are confident, you will be the trendsetter. Always this is the condition. But you see, if you take a different path, then you do not show your dedication to your work, then certainly you will be devastated. So it's a risky thing. If you take a different decision, then follow that aim religiously and give your best to that. Then you will be confident, and you will be able to find new arenas in your life, new ways of success, and these all people will turn towards you and they will follow you. This is the condition. But you see, every day, for this particular pursuance, what you need to do, you need to manage yourself daily. You see, we play the guitar and we need to tune it every time. Sometimes we need to loosen the wire, sometimes we are constraining the wire. So it's a kind of a tuning that on a daily basis you need to do. Sometimes you are lacking in motivation, sometimes your focus is disturbed, sometimes your health is not okay. So you need to manage all these things according to the condition. These are your problems, these are your capabilities, and this is a unique combination. This combination is not similar for any other person. So if you think that the people who are taking risky decisions in life, everything is coming easy to them, or everything is coming out of their luck or the destiny, this is not correct. The management is actually very, very necessary, and the daily management of yourself, and it is much more important when you take average decisions in your life. If we compare this situation to that condition also, then we need better management in the risky decisions, and the path of UPSC is also that kind of a risk. So manage yourself daily, otherwise you may be destroying yourself in the future, because it's a risky goal and people will watch your confidence. If you are confident, certainly you will be the hero, they will follow you. So this is the learning out of my experience, and these are the number there you can call, and you can ask for these pen drive courses by StudyIQ. You can visit the website also, and I think the off is over now, and these courses are still available, and importantly created by experts. MCQ 1 that I gave to you, SDI Human Development Index released by UNDP, and GDP per capita is not used. Here the thing that is used, that is GNI per capita, and PPP terms means purchasing power parity. What is this purchasing power parity? You suppose 1 kg of apple we are buying in India for maybe 40 rupees per kg. Actually it is 140, but suppose it is 40 rupees per kg. And in America they buy 1 kg of apple for $1, but the value of dollar is around 70 rupees now, and here we are buying it for 40 rupees. That means we have a higher purchasing power, because we are able to buy that apple for only 40 rupees, and Americans are gonna buy that for 70 rupees. Means they are having less purchasing power parity. So that is why in terms of PPP we are the third largest economy, otherwise we are on 6th position. So on this term, but the GDP is not used because it is about the nation. So gross national index and the per capita, GNI per capita, is used here. So this is a wrong statement. This HDI was developed by Mehboob ul Haq and Amartya Sen and Mehboob Haq was a Pakistani, Amrita Sen was an Indian. And this PPP is a very important concept in economy. Remember that. Never ever try to ignore these basic concepts of economy, whether they are appearing in the newspaper, in the magazine, or any information you are looking at. Always note down these concepts. Okay. Now see, the problem with this PPP also is that here the quality is not mentioned. Maybe the quality of apples of India is bad and the quality of American apple is good. That may be a condition, but it does not show about that. So the problem remains with the SDI also, that it does not talk about the quality of goods and net wealth per capita. So that is the problem. So second statement is correct and this is wrong. So B is the answer here. Now we talk about the SDI. The people who were are particularly related with this particular concept, Mehboob Haq, Gustav Rennis and Meghnad Desai also, all are economists, and Amrita Sen also. And in 2010 they brought up the inequality adjusted human development index, because you see maybe a country's GNI is very high, and the poverty level is also very high. That is the case with India, because 70% people are poor in this nation. 1% people are having more than 50 to 60% of wealth. So that means GNI would be high. But what about these people? So the equality issue is not particularly displayed here. So that is why they came up with inequality adjusted human development index. So that is the most important one. And maximum ISDI that could be achieved if there were no inequality. So that can be put up as an option in the prelims examination directly. So that's important. And you see, because of this particular thing, because of these particular limitations, sometimes developed countries, they are not able to get good scores in this SDI index. So that's important. And SDI actually framed in terms of whether people are able to be and able to do something desirable. Okay, so that is the thing. The welfare, shelter, healthy doings, work, education, voting, participating in community life and all these are beings for life. And as I told you, life expectancy is the basic criteria here, education and per capita income. So on the basis of that, they are showing the human development. And you see, we learned about the MPI 2-3 days back. That was much more important. And on both these topics, questions have been asked. Next, the question regarding the Rajasthan. All these areas are related with Rajasthan. Matsya Union, Matsya Nagar was the ancient city near Jaipur, and this is the area of eastern Rajasthan that is called Mewat sometimes. And the Matsya Union was formed before the reorganization of these states and before the formation of Rajasthan in 1950s. And you see, first they came up with the Matsya Union, then they came up with the United States of Rajasthan, then they came up with Rajasthan Union, and ultimately the United States of Greater Rajasthan. That was in 1949. And you see these areas. In the Jodhpur area, the Marwad region is there, Marwad, and in the Udaipur region, this is Mewad region. Okay, so many times these things are asked in UPSC also. And Matsya Union is here. So that is the thing. One important topic is Hadoti region. That's a very famous region because of the culture region, and the medieval history is also attached with this. Hadoti region is this. Kota and Bundi, these two cities, they are commonly called as Hadoti. So it is the important the regional significance of it. Next, Mahanadi. It rises in the state of Chhattisgarh in Dhamtari district. Okay, and the maximum area of a basin is lying in the state of Chhattisgarh only, although it's a major river of Odisha, the biggest river in Odisha, but the major basin lies in Chhattisgarh here. Sambalpur city is there when it enters into Odisha, and the Hirakud dam is there, the biggest dam, earthen dam, and the Sambalpur city. The significance of Mahanadi river is that during the dry period there is very less water in the river, but during the monsoonal phase, enormous amount of water that is coming into this river, and the river becomes devastating. That is why we call it Mahanadi. Because of the rainy season, it is called like that. And Ong and Jong are the right bank tributaries. Hasdev is a left bank tributary. So this is wrong here. and this is again wrong. So D9 is the correct answer. Look at the picture here. Here it is rising in this area and moving towards north, then towards east, and this is Hirakud Dam here when it enters Orissa, and Sambalpur city is here in this region, and you see Shionath, Hasdev, these are important left bank tributaries, and this is the area where a lot of mining and all these pristine forests are there. So many small streams, they are making the Mahanadi river here. And the Ong, Tel, all these rivers, this is Ong, this is Tel and Jong, these are right bank tributaries. They are joining it from the south. So don't confuse between the north-south tributary and the left bank and right bank tributaries. These are different things. You see, if a river is moving into this direction, then the mouth is to this direction. So any river, it is if it is joining from here, it is the right bank tributary. Okay, although it may look like it is joining from this side, so it is left tributary, but it is actually right bank tributary because the river is moving into this direction. So it is right bank, it is left bank, and it may be south bank tributary. So south bank may be a right bank tributary, but maybe the river is moving into this direction, then it is going to be the south bank tributary, but it is actually the left bank tributary. So this difference always you should note, otherwise this thing may confuse you. Now the next question, the 2018 Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences. You see, the Economic Nobel was started in 1968, way after when originally it was started in 1901. So in economics it was given 1961, very late, and this time in 2018 it is given to two persons, and the topic is climate technology and macroeconomic analysis. You can see here William Nordau and Paul Romer. Paul Romer became very famous regarding the charter cities concept also. Here you see the first person was integrating climate change into long run macroeconomic analysis. Okay, microeconomics, you all know, if we talk about banking sector, private sector, government sector, these are macroeconomic areas. If we talk about shoe industry, if we talk about mobile industry, these are microeconomics. So macroeconomic analysis. Paul Romer actually integrated technological innovation into long run macroeconomic analysis. So these two important areas where the future is lying. And you see in 2015 they asked about the TEEB, that is also related with the economics of climate change. So the Nordau and Romer, they were given the Nobel Prize in 2018. Next, the charter cities concept. As I told you, Paul Romer posed for it. What is this concept? It is a concept, you see, where in a country like India or some other developing country or the least developed country, many rich people are there. What they do, they always tend to move towards the developed nations and they would try to settle down there. So it creates a lot of pressure on these developed cities of the world. Everyone wants to move towards New York, London, and actually too much population is living in these cities and things are becoming unmanageable. So there is a solution that you create these developed cities like other cities, which will be called charter cities, in these underdeveloped countries, and the governance would be there with the developed country, that would be a sponsor country, and it would be considered as a foreign territory in the underdeveloped nation. And you see, people may come in, they may move out from the host country, so that's not a problem. But you see, the governance would be there in the hand of a third party or the foreign country. So the issue of sovereignty is very, very important here, and that's why it was criticized, and it was talked like that it's a concept of colonialism. Because you are giving all these facilities and the governance is in your hand, then you are actually occupying some territory in some other nation. But you see, some rich people, they actually pushed for this, and it's supportive for them because in their own country, if they are finding the same facilities and same kind of the development, then they are very happy about it. But this was not pushed. So C is the answer, establishing a city with highly developed rules and governance in underdeveloped region, and because of sovereignty it could not be moved further. Next, distance from India. In the map you can see Quetta is in Pakistan, Herat is here, and Guangzhou is in China, Beijing is here. So the farthest one is Beijing and closest one is Quetta here. Next, Baghdad. You see, Baghdad is capital of Iraq. Iraq's older name is Mesopotamia. It was the very old civilization, and it was based on two rivers, Tigris and Euphrates. In the map you can see Tigris is rising in the country of Turkey, and it is moving by the side of Mosul city, and it is passing through the Baghdad city and ending up to this Persian Gulf. And Euphrates is also rising in Turkey, and through this Lake Assad of Syria, it is moving in this side, making this area green, and moving with the side of by the side of city of Ramadi near Baghdad, and ending up to here in the Persian Gulf. So they are not moving towards Mediterranean Sea. They are not moving like that. They are moving into this direction towards Persian Gulf. So a very small part of their territory is opening in Persian Gulf. So Iraq is not a landlocked country here, and these two important rivers are very important, and both are rising in the country of Turkey. But one is coming directly from Turkey to Iraq, and it is coming through Syria. So this is Euphrates and this is Tigris, very important rivers. Okay, and the Tigris is moving just through the city of Baghdad. Half of the city is on the right bank, half of the city is on the left bank to it, and this is Euphrates. And all other cities, all other areas are also important. You see, Anatolia Plateau is the Turkey region, and Tabriz is the city in Iran. Zagros mountains are important, and the important plateau deserts like Daste Kavir, Daste Lut are also important with Iran. Capital is Tehran, and this is the Caspian Sea here. And the Basra city is also very important. It is in Iraq. Ramadi is very ancient cultural city, and Mosul is also important. So we have been hearing a lot about these areas because of the ISIS conflict. Next, we talk about the articles today. We are going to talk about this particular article based on the judicial matters and the corruption which lies with the judges and these important advocates. Next, deepening insecurity. You see, many issues we have discussed about that particular thing. It is talking about this particular race, that is blind race, and why this world is moving into this direction. We developed this technology, that is very good a thing, but it's a good thing because other countries are also developing that. So we have achieved a capability, but you see, overall, if we talk about the world, these are not good moves. We are moving towards destruction, and what we are developing, we are actually developing our own destruction. We are about to end our own humanity if any kind of conflict erupts between countries. And these big countries like Russia and America, they have stockpile as such that they can destroy each other multiple times. So why this kind of race, and where we are being led here? So we are going to discuss that. GS paper 2, an essay topic, a very important essay topic it is, and this is important for GS paper 2 here. This is again issue related with the ASAT launch, and the allegation on the ruling government is that why this timing, why before elections? And you knew that this kind of time would be controversial, and many more informations, many more controversies would erupt regarding this issue in media. It would run for very long during the election period, and people again would become emotional because it's a national security issue and it's about the national achievement. And these kind of topics nobody can deny and nobody can criticize. So you are bringing these kind of points before the elections. This is the allegation by the left. And you see, the problem is that now all the ministers and all the people who are again thumping the chest, talking about this particular issue, that we became a winner in this world and we are the fourth power in this world, that we could develop this much, we could acquire this much capability, and it is the issue of national pride. Obviously it is the issue of national pride, but why this particular time? This is the allegation here. So it again becomes political here. This is again a political issue. We are not going to discuss that. We will discuss, we may discuss this, but you see again the repeated points are being made here. It is talking about the hyper nationalistic issues, and it is quoting some examples here that in Nazi Germany also, in Myanmar's Rohingyas issues also, always a particular entity that is called systematic other, means some people who are as a group, maybe belonging to some other ideology, some other religion, they are considered as other, and the majority is against that, and the narrative is created as such that all would be against this particular other, and it has been there throughout the history, and this thing is not new, which is being present in Indian politics today, where we want to divide people in majority and minority, and we are targeting opposition and opposition all parties, and the way these things are moving, these things are not good for the healthy democracy. Certainly we will have very negative consequences of it. And you see, always you see, this is the common thing, the other you would find there. In the Nazi Germany, Jews were the others. In the Rohingya issue, Rohingyas are others, and Myanmar Buddhist, they were the majority there. And in India also, you may say the opposition parties or the coalition or some ideological groups or the religious minorities, they may be this other, and out of the this particular concept, they are spreading hate, and the enmity is the central thing against this other, and out of this common enmity, they are going into elections. This is the allegation by writer here, and you see the enmity issue is so huge that for the last 2 days we are hearing about it a lot. Many writers, many scholars, they are writing these petitions that we protest against this enmity, this politics of hatred. We cannot support that, and it is totally against our ethos. So this is all given in this article, and it's a repeated issue. Many times I have discussed these simple and similar points here. Next, we are going to discuss the particular issue. Here it is about the second edition of Belt and Road Forum that is going to be launched, and here the writer says that we can take a leaf out of Japan's moves. Shinzo Abe as a prime minister, he has sent his own envoy, a non-official person, to China, and they are discussing a business deal in the framework of Belt and Road Initiative. You see, they have been staunch enemies and they are bigger rivals. Japan is there in the USA's group, we may say, because these are strategic allies. But Japan's geopolitics is changing, and you see the particular relation between China and Japan, they are improving in a sense, and everyone is accepting China's hegemony in the Asian region. So it says that where China is today, even America is negotiating, Japan is changing its stances, Russia is close to it. Why we being isolated here? Some group of scholars in India, they supported this particular move, that they said that we should join Belt and Road Initiative because it is about the economy and the business. And nationalistic rhetorics and nationalistic issues, they are somewhat different. We should not deal with the economy on the national narrative, because you see what we see in India, they were protesting, they were saying that we reject all Chinese goods and all, but the same message they were typing on the Chinese mobile handset that they were using, because these companies like Vivo, Oppo, MI, all are Chinese companies, and you see everywhere the hoardings of Oppo and Vivo phones, they are there on the IPL teams t-shirts, these logos are there, so they are sponsoring everything in India. So you see what kind of rhetoric we are making here, what kind of rejection is there. Chinese items are everywhere. So suppose a condition where India, China, Russia, they are on the same line and they are great friends, and the understanding between these countries, it's very, very strong. So USA would never dare to interfere in our issues in this particular region, and it would be the greatest region. This is the Asian century, but the problem between China and India, it is creating havoc. All kinds of troubles are there. When we rejected the Belt and Road offer, after that the Doklam issue happened, the Masood Azhar and all, and China is not coming on the terms. Although we have sent some positive vibes here, that we said that we will not spoil our bilateral relations with China, because of this Masood Azhar issue, because not much is gonna change. So that's a good sign. Now we can take a particular hint by Japan also here, because these kind of moves are coming from a staunch enemy like Japan. Then we can take some initiative here, although the issue of sovereignty was there, and that was really a very big problem. And because of that, because it was running through the POK region, we could not endorse it, and we actually protested against that. The success which is there for Belt and Road Initiative, that is to be discussed, that is to be seen in the future. But you see, when Italy endorsed it and it got the entry in European region, then it has become the biggest thing for China. And now we need to see this particular situation. So this is all about this particular article. Now we move towards the words and try them into sentences. And ensuring access to justice. In this article, writer herself was a Supreme Court judge, and she's targeting judges that most of them, they are not being honest, and they act as dishonest brokers in most of the cases. And you see the kind of monopoly they have in Delhi's Supreme Court bench. It's a troublesome thing, because many professional and many brilliant lawyers from all other parts of India, they cannot come here, and their clients, they cannot follow them up to Delhi. So many more benches we need today. So it was a proposal, and the writer says that we made a mistake there when we actually cancelled that particular proposal, and we denied that when they proposed that many more benches in other parts of the country should be there. You see, Supreme Court has the authority, and the Chief Justice of India can issue this particular direction that set up other benches also, but till now it is only there in Delhi. So the consequences, she points out here, that the Supreme Court sitting only in Delhi has resulted in excellent lawyers from other courts, they are not able to appear before the Supreme Court. Second, you see, as I told you, the monopoly of some inefficient lawyers which are there in Supreme Court. Maybe they are having less capacities, maybe they are not being honest, and maybe they are working as just money seekers out of this noble profession. So they are being here, and it's a problem. Third one is that according to Article 130, you see these articles 130, 131 are regarding original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, and after that they are very, very important. So please revise them in Lakshmikant's Supreme Court chapter. And you see, fallout of the failure to act under Article 130 is that Supreme Court in Delhi has been flooded with work. It is working like the district court, because overburdened with the work. Many files are there, and it does not look like the highest appellate authority of the country. So these are the important consequences of it. And you see the victim compensation cases. We brought in 87 the Legal Service Authority Act, and NALSA was created, and in states SALSA was created, National Legal Service Authority. And the two important goals which were there, that the poorest of the poor, that person should get the justice within time, and the disposal of the cases, that should be fast. Lok Adalat's provision was there, where the cases which are in pre-litigation stages, they can be solved out of the court. This kind of arbitration is possible under the Lok Adalat's issue. So this provision was also very, very important, and the poor person was at the center. And in many compensation cases, this thing is seen that many honest and respectable lawyers, they do not charge any kind of fees. Very nominal charges they take, but some are charging very high, a very high fee. And you see, some are very much deceptive here. They would say that we will not charge any money here, but they would fight for the bigger compensations, bigger money. And when the bank account would be opened for that compensation, they would add their numbers into that account, and they would follow all the transactions there. And after that, they would demand very hefty amounts from this compensation, and they would actually threaten that poor person or maybe some other victim that maybe you will not get any kind of compensation here, and it is all because of me that you are getting this much amount. So that person also would be convinced that I should give this money to this lawyer, otherwise I would not get anything. So these kind of dishonest brokers are working sometimes in courts. So the disciplinary action should be taken here. But you see, Bar Council of India that used to take these disciplinary actions, that is no more capable, because Advocates Act came in 1961. After that it has become very much political, and the amendment in this Advocate Act 1961 is needed today. Okay, and the noble profession of these judiciary and the judicial system, that should maintain its a particular image and a particular sanctum. Otherwise, you see, this is the last resort, and Supreme Court is no less than God for the poor in India, and the people who are coming from the weaker sections, maybe Dalit community and the female section, they all are finding last resort into Supreme Court, where they would go. And you see, if you talk about our democracy, where anything can be manipulated with power, money, politics, media, everything, there are some positive steps by media, but these days the media is working in a very, very dirty manner, and it is unprecedented, and it is really unfortunate. In the same way, if these things will go on, then certainly the weaker section, they would be under immense pressure and an extreme threat. So where the solution lies, it lies only with the Supreme Court. And if these kind of lawyers would be there, then there is no resolution there. And now, as I told you, the Advocates Act amendment is needed here, and according to the Vidhi's research report, it says that 70% of the delays in the disposal of cases are attributed to the lawyers. It's a major reason, because they would plead for the unjust adjournments, and they would demand much more dates that this case should be postponed, so that they can arrange for their own hefty amount of fees. So that's a problem here. The spirit of this Legal Service Authority, LCA, as a statutory body, that is not being followed here, and the poor is denied the justice. Crores of cases are in line, and lakhs of people, poor people, they are waiting for their trials, but these things are not possible because the lawyers, they are not being honest here, and they have become the most powerful people sometimes, and the political nexus is very dirty. So some suggestions the writer is putting here. First, the Supreme Court should reconsider setting up benches in different states, so that great lawyers, honest lawyers, they may plead in Supreme Court and they can work there. And the professional ability which these people have, that would be beneficial for the poorest of India. Next, the amendment in the Advocates Act of 1961, that is also needed. And lawyers should be made irrelevant by referring more cases to trained mediators, as we saw in the Ayodhya case, when two important senior judges, they were appointed as mediators. Third person was not the greatest one. The Ravi Shankar Prasad is not the greatest mediator here. That's obvious. But this way can be applied in many important cases, so that these wicked lawyers, they cannot manipulate these cases, and the disciplinary action against these people, that would be possible here. Next, deepening insecurity. We discussed this issue. As I told you, this capability that we have achieved in this Mission Shakti is extremely important, because other countries are developing it. If no country is developing that particular capability and this ballistic missile approach, then it would not be a good move. But today all countries are striving for it, and 3 countries already, they have achieved it. So we have become the 4th one. So it's a national pride issue. But you see, if we talk about the whole world, what kind of moves are these? The MAD doctrine. It's actually a MAD doctrine. Mutually assured destruction. It is inviting destruction. It was discussed in the Cold War phase, when all these countries were divided into these 2 poles, and these 2 poles were US and USSR, and the rivalry was going on, and they were procuring these nuclear weapons, and the stockpile increased multifold times. Today the condition is like that, they can destroy each other multiple times. This much capacity these countries have, and they decided that any country, if it's going to attack each other, then they would use these nuclear nukes. But you see, the foolishness is that why they are not talking about the consequences, and the consequences are such that nobody would survive. It's total destruction of the humanity. So why we are developing these kind of troubles for us? And these wars, conflicts, they are a part of human civilization. But if we are using nuclear weapons or weapons of mass destruction here, then what we are doing, where our logics are missing, and what we are up to. You see, the relaxation phase came after the disintegration of USSR, but you see, again these things are rising. Again the trade wars and all these protectionism measures are rising in this world, and the cooperation we do not see here, and the escalations are certainly there, and the threat of terrorism is again a biggest one. Alfred Nobel, when he invented dynamite in 1867, he was so happy. He said that now nobody would dare to start a war, because they would know that dynamite can kill many people within seconds. So he was happy at first, but after that, when he saw that it has started as a race, and people are now moving towards developing more and more destructive weapons, then he said that I have made a huge mistake here. I have shown a very wrong path to this world. And that's why the Nobel Prize was started, and all peace measures are going on by the Nobel Committee. But you see, it was a path of destruction. US and Russia still maintain about 1800 nuclear weapons in a state of high alert, ready for launch within minutes. That means the devastation, the end of the humanity is just minutes away. So what kind of condition we have brought here, and what kind of wars, what kind of ego wars we are fighting here, and why we are not thinking that we are the unique species and Earth is the only habitable place, and we are ready to kill each other. What kind of foolish species we all are. Global Peace Index says that we are actually spending around $15 trillion dollars here, not dollar rupees, dollars here, and 12.4% of global GDP is stuck here. And Ban Ki-moon said that the world is overarmed and the peace is underfunded here. GDP growth has been 3 times higher in the peaceful countries where these conflicts are not going on. And you see, in India, we were involved in this warmongering, and we said that we will destroy Pakistan, and we will destroy China, we will destroy everyone here, we have the greatest power and all. So these all rhetorics were going on, and those were all political, because in reality there is no significance of human wars when these nuclear weapons are there. If we are going to use nuclear weapons, then what the courage of Indians would do, or what the courage of any other country's military would do. These are devastating materials. So we need to think here what this mad doctrine is all about. This is a real madness. It's a foolishness. ICAN, International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, it is there in Melbourne. It said that failure of the nuclear powers to disarm has heightened the risk that other countries will acquire nuclear weapons. And this thing is going on. Many countries now have these weapons. ICAN was awarded the Nobel Prize in 2017 because this thing was very important. And this particular body, Global Peace Index, that is an institution based in Sydney. So Australia has many institutions like that. And now the incident happened of mass killing near Australia. The person was Australian. So you see the connection here. Why these countries are striving for that, and why they are trying to establish peace in this world, because they know the consequences of it. And you see, WRI, this institution is there in London, Registers International, War Registers International. Such it says that in 40 countries, 19 groups are there, and these groups ceaselessly serve as a counter to all those who glamorize or justify war or an arms race. And you see the biggest leaders like Trump, they are also supporting these races. Indirectly, they are doing everything to harm this world. He is denying climate change, and he is withdrawing from important words initiatives, and being a big nation, they are not taking these responsibilities, and this is really unfortunate. That is why these kind of leaders are rising in this world, where they are behaving in a very irresponsible manner, and they are just provoking emotions of their domestic voters. So the vote gain is all their aim is. Next article we have discussed here, as I told you, Belt and Road Forum. Later this month, the second edition is there, and Japan is sending, Mr. Abe is sending Toshihiro Nikolai to China. And Nikolai, the Secretary General of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party in Japan, though an established heavyweight, was technically not a part of government. That means non-official person was sent there. And his presence signaled that Tokyo continued to have reservations about BRI. Means still they are not out of it, and they are thinking some collaborations here. And nevertheless open to an engagement with the enterprise, provided as course correction was carried out in the future. Means in the future we may see, like Italy, that Japan is also endorsing Belt and Road Initiative here, but we are being isolated here. And some scholars 2 years back were saying that we should join Belt and Road Initiative because it's a huge deal. It's not only limited to China's gain. It is a regional deal, it's a Asian deal, and it is Asian century, and China's hegemony is all accepted here. So we should not deny that. Although the issue of sovereignty is there, but we should solve these issues, because the rivalry or the enmity between India and China, that is never towards our progress. That is certainly gonna give negative consequences to us. Now the MCQs tried their answers, and the additional data you should find directly or indirectly. You would find many questions in the prelims this year. The compilation which is there with you people, because PDF you are all getting on the Telegram channel and on the Facebook group. So send me a request there, and this compilation would be very important in the prelims this year. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit signing.